Hi, this is Rebecca Miner, and this is part 4 of my 2025 Figure Prep series. Today's going to be a little different. I've invited a teammate, a friend of mine named Rosie Fesko, to be a special guest on my video series, so I hope you enjoy the video. We're just going to talk to each other.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that you were willing to do this video, this prep video.
No, I'm excited. I've been wanting to.
I love the fact that we are going to do the Niagara Falls show, and I want to talk about that. I want you to introduce yourself, but before you do that, I wanted to say a few words actually to you about how this prep has gone. So I mentioned before that the prep has been a real challenge. And I was actually really hoping to do a June show because my sons live in Rochester.
Oh, yeah.
And so the June show is going to be in Rochester. By the way, my baby is your age. I think we talked about that too. Oh, talk about feeling old. But so I was really looking forward to doing the June show. And this prep, my body was not cooperating. It was just no way. I was at least 5 pounds behind, and I mentioned that in my last video. And so I was feeling really down on myself and discouraged and feeling blue. And at that point, Cassandra was like, "Let's focus on August." And I still wasn't letting it go. I was still disappointed.
It's hard.
It was really hard, and I felt like I had let her down. I felt like I'd let myself down, even though I had tried everything, but I just felt like my body was fighting me. And then things started to turn around. I started to feel a little bit better. And then you reached out to me, which was so sweet, and it meant so much. And when you told me that you were going to do the August show in Niagara Falls, it just lit a fire. It lit a fire under me. And it really boosted my morale because I was then really able to just push the June show away, to just forget about it. I have a friend, a young man that's competing, and I'll go to that show and I'll support him. But I can put that away and totally focus on August. I know I'll be ready.
Yeah.
And we get to do it together.
Yes.
And I'm sure Cassandra's going to be there with us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a great weekend. So I want to thank you for reaching out to me and sharing your own sort of struggles, and then just like I said, lighting a fire under me. It was just what I needed. So
well, I'm glad I could help.
Thanks, teammate.
I'm glad I could help.
Now I wanted to have you on here because I wanted to get to know you better, but I also had some questions for you, and I thought that that my audience would be interested to sort of hear the perspective of another bodybuilder. By the way, we both are on team. It's not Team Tequila anymore. It's hard not to say.
I know.
But it's a Grip Peak Performance, and our coach is Cassandra Grippy, and she's freaking amazing. IFBB pro and just a wonderful, wonderful human being.
How long have you been working with her?
Since 2022, I think. I was her first competitive, because you came in late with her in your prep, right?
Yeah, I was like 8 weeks out, I think.
Right.
So right. I think I got with her maybe like the end of September.
Yeah.
Early October 2022.
And then that show was November. That was in Syracuse, right? Yeah.
November.
There's always that November show. So so I was kind of her. I think she's going to correct me, but I think I was her first competitor, and so. What led you to bodybuilding? What was the thing that caused you to be interested in doing bodybuilding? And what was your why?
I'd say to start, well, I'm going to backtrack a little. I've always been an athlete. I've always been playing sports since I was a little toddler. I played softball. I played volleyball through college, and I was a thrower in track in college for a few years. And then I stopped doing that. I stopped playing volleyball and doing sports really after my third year of college. I did a 6-year program.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, the program started to get intense, and I started to have back problems. So I really couldn't, like, play to the level that I wanted to. But, so I was always an athlete, and towards the end of my volleyball career, I also, like, started getting into the gym a little bit more. Like, we did go to the gym with, like, our trainers with our teams and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, like, bodybuilding type of training. It's more like a lot of plyometric work, sport specific. But I did start lifting more, and I had, like, lifted a little in high school too. Like, I always did, like, a little bit, kind of just whatever I felt like that day type of thing, nothing, like, structured.
Right.
But I found an interest in powerlifting, and I really liked, like, doing deadlifts, squats, benching, and I loved, like, practicing all of that stuff and the accessory movements and everything. And I've always had, like, a little bit of, like, lower back problems. And then one day on a deadlift, I herniated 3 discs. Oh. I went from the gym to the hospital.
Oh my God. My son, who's the same age as you, Daniel, did the same thing.
Did he?
At the age of 24.
Yeah. I want to say I was, like, maybe 21 or something around that age. The worst part is I put all my, this is good, I put all my weights back, herniated disc, and I was like, I need to do my leg extensions before I go, and I went and did leg extensions, and then I went to the hospital.
All right. She's hardcore.
Like, looking back, I'm like, definitely, why did I do that? Shouldn't have done that.
The makings of a champion.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah. It was during, like, COVID, because I remember I was wearing a mask and stuff in the hospital, and no one could come with me.
Oh, gee.
But yeah, it ended up being 3 herniated discs, and I did, like, recover well pretty, like, after a few weeks, but I do still get, like, some low back pain with things. I don't ever do RDL type movements. I don't do a lot of things. Like, my exercises are very, like, I know what works for me and I know what doesn't.
Yeah.
So I really don't do, like, hinging for, like, glutes and hamstrings much. I do a lot of, like, squat movements or feel better for me, and leg press. I love the leg press, like, that kind of stuff. But so powerlifting, I was like, maybe this isn't for me. And then, but I still wanted to go to the gym, and I wanted to do what made me feel good, and I ended up loving, like, the style of bodybuilding, like, the training. And I did still like doing plyometric stuff. So, like, I would superset, like, leg extensions with, like, jumping lunges, and, like, I would do stuff like that. Just the athlete in me like doing that, and I actually still did that kind of stuff up until, like, Cass took me on, and then I didn't really do any, like, plyometric work. But people at the gym, like, started asking me if I was a bodybuilder, and I was like, no. And then, but, like, the thought kept going. I was like, should I try this? Like, what is it? Like, I looked, more into it, and I was like, maybe I could do this. I was like, it seems pretty, hard, but I'm very much the type of person that's always up for a challenge, and I like to challenge myself. That's, like, in anything I do, I really just love challenging myself. And Tristan, my fiance, you don't know, he also was like, I think that you would be really good at this. And he never bodybuilded, but he did, like, love the style, and he more power lifted, but he was like, I think that you would be really good at it. And he was like, obviously I'm here to support you when you do it if you want to.
And that's huge, having that family and spouse support.
Yeah, very much so.
So important.
But yeah, I decided that I was just going to try, like, a more local show, and I went for it. I went for it without a coach. I went for it never having tracked macros before. Literally never. I was like, I'm going to start prepping. I just started tracking macros. I used, like, I found a bodybuilding book. And I, like, did all the calculations stuff, like, through that. They weren't great for me. They, obviously it's not tailored to me at all. But that's how I started it. And when I got with Cass, you could tell, like, literally after a week, the difference it made to have something that was actually, like, structured for me. because like you could just see it in my body, the difference. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got started with it.
And your first show was, as you said, in 2022, and so you've been spending since that point trying to build as much muscle as possible.
I've done some like mini cuts in between, but pretty much mostly building phases. Yeah.
Now, how has your body responded to, first, let's talk about the build, and even I kind of want to go back and talk about how was reversing out of competition into the build phase? Because the reverse for me was a little challenging. How was it for you, and then what did you do to reset your mind and your motivation to a build phase?
So reversing, harder than the prep. Definitely, I would say for me it was harder than the prep. Just because you don't have that end goal anymore, and yet you have goals still, but it's not as intense as, okay, I'm going for a prep. It's not like, it's just not the same.
And it's such a long term. Yeah.
Being I'm very much also like, which is something I'm trying to work on, is like, I'm an all or nothing type of person, and I hate that I'm like that, and that is something that I have been trying to work on with myself. But so reversing was really hard for that, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have my one free meal that I'm supposed to have, and I'm like, well, if I had it anyway, I might as well eat all the rest of this stuff. And so I did struggle with that quite a bit. And also, since my show was in November, we had Thanksgiving, then we had Christmas and all the holidays. Like, that was not good. You could see in looking back at my photos, weighing 150 pounds me there versus me 150 pounds nowadays. My face is really puffy there. Like, you can just tell I'm full of water and bloated and So definitely, one of my biggest goals is to nail the reverse this time. And just, I feel like over the past 2 years, I've grown so much and have, grown such a better relationship with food. And Cass has helped me so much with just navigating that and figuring it out. And I think that it's going to go a lot better this time. Yeah. I have high hopes for it this time.
Well, you know what to expect.
Yes, that too.
And for me, it definitely was a psychological adjustment, because you love how you look, and when I was reversing out the first 2 weeks after the show, or at least the first week, I dropped more weight.
Me too. I couldn't gain weight for a little while.
Eating, and my metabolism was firing, and I was like, okay, well, this is cool, and then reality hit.
And then it hits, yeah.
But yeah, it's the post show blues was real. Now the other thing to talk about is then adjusting to eating more and watching your body grow in both positive and what we would probably as women view as not so positive ways, and how did that go for you, and did you were you able to, and how much, if you don't mind my asking, how much weight in the build did you put on?
Stage weight was 133. So I started that prep at about 158, and I got down to 133.
Yeah.
The heaviest I got this time was about 170 in my off season, maybe 169, 170. Yeah. And honestly, I don't mind a building phase. I was building even through the summer, peak summer. I was my 170, my heaviest, and I just really try to dissociate my body from my worth, and I've definitely gotten better at it. It was hard at first, for sure. Yeah. Watching your body change like that, but then I got to a point and I was like, no, this is how I normally am. I'm not normally 133 pounds. I'm normally I'm my most comfortable between I'd say 150 to 165 is about where I feel comfortable.
And you're tall too.
Yeah, I'm 5'8".
Yeah, you're very tall. So
So yeah, even when I was at that heaviest weight, I still, as long as I had clothes that were actually fitting and felt comfortable, and I was the fact that I was able to follow plan made me feel better. I was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm following the plan. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like, this is it, you know?
This is, I think, a really important point. Maintaining, like, I don't know how I would have done if I had not maintained my relationship with Cassandra, with my coach. And I just think, you know, I know some people, and some of it's a financial thing, some people can only afford, or they only choose to have a coach during prep, during the prep period, if at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes folks just try to do it on their own, but I think having that accountability through it all, I had literally, and I wrote about it, I literally had one day where I just lost control and ate like a maniac and then felt horrible. It was one day because I knew I was accountable. And when I saw the weight coming on, you know, even I'm 60 now, but even at my age, there's still that body dysmorphia stuff. But it is fascinating to see and compare, you know, what did 140 look like before I was bodybuilding, and what does 140 look like now?
Yeah, so different.
Totally different. And I encourage women to freaking lift weights, especially older women to lift weights.
Yeah.
Now, what are your short-term goal is the August show. Do you have any other shows in mind? What are your short-term goals? And then what are some of your long-term goals?
So, short-term, that August show, I'm really hoping to get my pro card this season in the OCB. So, if I don't get it there's actually a lot of shows following it that are within driving distance. So, if I need, there's like, I don't know, it was like 4 or something more shows that I can like keep trying if I need to.
Right.
So that is definitely a short-term goal, and then to compete at the Orton Cup. And I don't really have any expectations for the Orton Cup, but I just really want to compete at it. And I also have a lot of family that lives in North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
They live like very close to Charlotte, so I can just like stay at their houses and go there. So, so that is my short-term goals. Long-term goal is about the reverse. Nailing that. I also, our wedding is 2 weeks after the Orton Cup. So definitely making sure I'm doing well in the reverse so my dress fits me. That was a struggle too, like figuring out when to get it tailored. And so I had to talk to Cass. I was like, when do you think, how do you think my body will look like 2 weeks after compared to like how many weeks before should I get it tailored to equal that? And I think we're gonna do about 6 weeks before my first show.
Right.
To equal the same.
Right.
So I need it to fit. So I'm like, all right, this is gonna be, that'll be good motivation for at least the first 2 weeks. And we're not doing our honeymoon until like February. That way I don't have to worry about trying to hold a good reverse while we're away.
Right.
But, and then more long term is just kind of getting my body in a good position to then, since we're getting married, we do want to start trying for kids fairly soon after that. So just getting my body in a good spot to have kids. And with bodybuilding, I don't know if I'll ever compete again after this season. I'm always going to train like a bodybuilder because I just love it. But I want to really get into just like more of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And I do want to move away from macro tracking like once I hit that point too. Because I mean, before I competed in bodybuilding, I was good at being able to like bulk and cut and stuff without tracking macros, just by going how my body felt.
Right.
And I want to be able to do that again.
To just eat intuitively.
Yeah.
People will say to me, I couldn't do what you do. You're so disciplined. And I'm like, it's not. I mean, it becomes habit. And it's not that hard. And once you sort of get into that routine. So you're a big part of then post-show and reversing is getting your hormone levels to a healthy stage where you can get pregnant, which is very exciting. So this might be, I'm going to jump ahead because this might be a good time to talk about sort of the pros and cons of bodybuilding for someone who's 25 and someone who's 60. So at 25, you have goals to have a family, and prepping for a show when it's just not.
Yeah, they're not.
It's not possible. You can body build.
Yeah.
You can weight train and keep your body strong and all of those things safely. But as far as getting ready for competition, you
they don't line
can't
up.
do that. And I look at young people that are doing bodybuilding and they have young children, and I can't imagine
Me neither.
doing it with a young child. For me at this age, my kids are grown up. Hopefully grandkids will be on the way soon. But I'm self-employed, so my time is my time, and so I don't have to worry about the hormone issues. For me are that I'm postmenopausal, so I can't put on muscle as quickly as someone who is younger, and that I had to adjust to stop comparing myself to people in their 20s and women in their 20s, and try to find inspiration from other masters competitors to say, okay, all right, that's attainable. The other thing that for me was a real adjustment was understanding that this is a long term project. So I was running marathons before I started.
I forgot about that.
I wasn't anything. It was more of a bucket list and something I'd always wanted to do, and I ran my first marathon with my son Benjamin, which was just amazing.
Yeah.
But I was always active and did a lot of backpacking and hiking. But after menopause, I put on a lot of weight and was really disappointed with myself, and so started trying to take better care of myself, and I started running. So weight training, I really didn't seriously start until I was 57. So I've really only been at this for 3 years, which is not long. And I get discouraged and I think, why haven't I put on more muscle? But then I look at other women that have been competing and they've been building for 10 years. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, stop comparing yourself then. What are some sort of obstacles that you encounter as a young woman in trying to prep?
I'd say some big things are, in general, time.
Yeah.
I wake up at 4 in the morning when I have to train. So my 4 to 8 a.m. I start work at 8. So 4 to 8 a.m. is my gym and breakfast, get my life together time. And then I get home. I finish work at 3:30, which is nice because most jobs go to 4 or 5, which is so that I'm thankful for. Yeah. And then my evenings are mostly just eating and doing dishes and trying to get to bed by 8 o'clock at the latest, if possible. So that leaves a little time for friends, for socialization. And honestly, I am the type of person that would gladly just snuggle on my couch and watch TV. So the fact that I don't have time to do that is also not good because it just nestles me more into my home. But Tristan is very much a social butterfly, so we made a little pact to give and take a little. He'll encourage me to go out a little more, and then I'll get him to stay in a little more. So that has been a nice balance for me to have him help me do that and encourage me, because I do need to just socialize with people other than saying hi to people at the gym in the morning. Well,
and again, having that spouse or partner support is just crucial. And it's so funny, the other day my husband was kind of laughed at me. He looked at me and he walked in, he said, "Did you mean to leave the trunk of the car open?" And I'm like, "Nope." He said, well, looks like the prep brain fog is here, you know.
That's so funny.
He laughs about it. He's very, very supportive. But having that is so important, and I think it's good that you guys have figured out, you know, how to work together to make that work.
Yeah, exactly. And if I'm having a night where I'm like, I really don't want to do anything, he's like, okay, like, you know, he gets it. When if I say no, he's like, okay, that's fine. Like, he gets it.
Because prep can be exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes your body just needs to sleep.
Yep.
Just nap and sleep.
I haven't really taken many naps yet, which on Sundays I usually do, because we go to his grandmother's house every Sunday. And her couch, there's something about it. I just lay on it and I'm out like a light.
Oh, I need to go to her couch.
I know. But yeah, that's pretty much the only naps I really take. But yeah, time and socialization. I do worry sometimes about my health, just wanting to make sure it's, you know, I'm going to be able to get in the best health to have kids after this. But, you know, I've talked to Cass about it, and we're doing everything as safely as we can and everything. So pursuing my goals while also doing it safely is just definitely a really important thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, very good. Are there other things that you want to talk about or share about what prep has been like, or what bodybuilding is to you, or anything else?
Let's see. So prep so far has been good. This was a 25 week prep for me. Last time it was only 16, so this one is longer, but I think it's better that way. It's just, it's safer for your body. You're able to keep a little more muscle on when you go a little slower. But honestly, I didn't even feel like I was in prep maybe until like 2 weeks ago, I want to say.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because life the day that I went from not on prep to on prep, my life did not change other than a little bit of food difference and a little bit of cardio difference.
Yeah.
And the only difference is just basically how I feel. But honestly, this past week, I've felt back to normal. Like, I don't really feel like I'm on prep this week. It was like a week and a half ago where I really didn't. I was in the trenches, but I think I was just a little sick, honestly. Yeah. But I'm back to feeling pretty good, and I'm able to handle hunger well. I'm able to get through training well. When I start to get hungry, where my head starts to feel foggy, that's what I hate, that feeling. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm in prep. But I haven't really been feeling that besides when I wasn't feeling well, so hopefully it stays off for a while.
Well, what is it? We got 12, 13?
13 weeks tomorrow.
13 weeks. So it's, the first prep for me wasn't really all that challenging until about 8 weeks out. Okay. Now, I had a bad week a couple of weeks ago, for sure. So, well, I am so excited that we get to compete together.
Me too. It's going to be so fun.
It's going to be so
It's going to be fun to just have someone, by your side supporting you.
Absolutely. And so you'll compete in the open category. Mm-hmm. I'll be competing in the open and the masters. They have a masters 35, which, come on, people, 35 is not a masters. In fact, I think the rules should be that you have to have stretch marks and be postmenopausal before you can be talked about as a masters. At least 45. So, but I'll be competing in, I think there's a 45 plus and a 55 plus masters. Okay. So I'll do open and then those. And I have no expectations for open, but I'm hoping to kick ass in the masters. So
you'll do great.
We'll see.
I'm also going to be doing novice too, because if you've never won first place, you can do novice, and I won second place in my shows. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'll be able to do novice as well.
Very good. I didn't know that rule. Well, that's good. Mm-hmm. You're going to do great. The pictures I've seen, which, by the way, I hope that you'll share some pictures. We'll talk about that afterward. So that's it. We're going to let you go, and we're going to both go eat. You're going to eat here. I'm going to go home. And I pushed back my lunch till about 1:30, so because I usually eat about 4:30. Okay. 4:30. I'm ready. And then I have a nighttime snack around 6:30. So
Yeah.
so that's pretty good. But thank you so much for inviting me to your beautiful home
Thank you for having
and
me.
sharing your story. And we got this, girl.
Yes, we do.
Peace.
Bye.
Thank you so much.